honestly forgot that I had them until now. Hi everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with a really big, oh no, Unhaul. So today we have a kind of chill video. We will be doing an unhaul. So we have a box. I do this every like few months or so, but we've got a box downstairs that we just kind of pile with books, and when it gets full, we take it to our used bookstore, and so that really needs to happen. So before I do that, I thought I would show you some of the books that I am getting rid of. These usually fall into two categories. One, books I've read and have not liked, so I'm getting rid of them, or two, books that I haven't read yet, but I have no interest in, or I am getting rid of for a very specific reason. But there's literally no order to this. I'm just going to pick off the top, and here are a bunch of books that we are getting rid of. The first one we're going to get rid of is the entire Dreaming Sun series. So I don't think I have all of them here. I think there are still a few over there, but I am going to be getting rid of this entire series. I really enjoyed kind of my starting of this series, but now that I've officially finished it, I have no desire to really hold on to it. It's definitely taking up a lot of space on my manga shelf, and I could use that for other things that I am going to genuinely enjoy. Like, I don't have like a need to hold on to these. So someone else is going to be getting the entire series, and hopefully they enjoy it more than I did, but that whole thing is gonna go. And then another one that I've read recently that I'm going to get rid of is Death of the Priory, which is actually kind of funny because I got it from the used bookstore that we were going to be giving all of these back to. I read this in April, I want to say, and I enjoyed my time reading it. I mean, it wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever read, but it was a true crime story set historically that I really enjoyed, and I kind of like enjoy that time period, but I'm not going to ever get back to it. Like, I've read it, I'm done, I don't really need to hold on to it, so we're gonna pass that along. Another couple books that I'm going to be getting rid of is books that I've had for a very long time, and that is this series, which is the Book of Ember series, which is The City of Ember, People of Sparks, and Prophet of Yonwood, which is in this one, and then the fourth one is The Diamond of Darkwood. And these are kind of, whoa, I'm throwing them. These are dystopian books that I had when I was in like high school, I want to say, and I kind of held on to them for the nostalgia, but as I was looking at our shelves downstairs, I realized that like I genuinely am probably never going to get to these again. I pulled them out, I think for a very specific video that I did. I don't even remember why I pulled them out, but I pulled them out for some reason, and I realized that I forgot that I had them, and I was never going to reread them. So those are going to go, but I have the entire series, so someone's going to enjoy a bound up version of those. We then have a random poetry book that is The Making of a Poem. It's a anthology, and I had this one when I was in college. I was a creative writing minor, so I did a lot of like English classes, and near the end of kind of my, I think it was my junior or senior year of college, this was required for one of the classes I was taking, and it was cool because it really is just kind of like a collection of poems. We only went into this book for like very specific poems. We didn't even read the majority of them. So the fact that it's been a few, I think we were at like 5 years now, and I haven't touched it since. So that one's gonna go. Another poem book is this comic poem book, which I don't really remember anything. I picked it up in a used bookstore when I was in high school sometime, and it's always just kind of been on our classics shelf, and I kind of did a little bit of an unhaul on our classics shelf here recently, especially our poetry collection, because there's very few books that I want to hold on to, and I think I read like 3 of these and never touched it again. I just liked it because it was cute and tiny, so someone else can enjoy that one. I'm going to be getting rid of my entire Pride and Prejudice and Zombies series, as well as Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters. I read that one, and then I did read Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, but I also have the prequel and sequel to Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which is Dreadfully Ever After and Dawn of the Dreadfuls. I picked these up because I read this one, and I thought it was kind of cool, and I enjoyed that there was like a series, but I've never once felt like I needed to pick these up. So I'm going to be getting rid of these because I'm not going to reread them. They were funny when I read them. I enjoyed my time reading them. I don't regret reading them by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't need to hold on to them, you know, and they were on my classic shelf. They didn't be on my classic shelf. And so when I kind of rearranged that, I realized that these could go to a better home. So maybe someone will enjoy horror comedy of that nature. Okay, now we've just got a hot mess in here. Some of these aren't even real books. Oh, I'm going to be getting rid of my big old copy of Stupid Love Comedy because I read it. I'm not going to reread it. It's super chunky. And while I enjoyed my time reading it, the first volume was really good. It just kind of went downhill after the first volume. So this big one, someone else can enjoy that one. I don't even remember half of these. There's some random, super random stuff in here. So I'm getting rid of some of my Sandaya Menon books. I'm keeping When Diplomat Rishi, which is still, I think, up there. If it's not, then it's downstairs. Because I really enjoyed my time reading that one, and I just have like a lot of emotional connection to that one. But the other books by hers, I've read one of, I think, which one did I even read? I read 10 Things I Hate About Pinky, which was really cute. I enjoyed it, but like it's in that, you know, YA romance vein that I'm kind of steering clear of. So I read that one, which is technically the third in the Benevolverse, and then there's also something about Sweetie, but there's nothing that like I feel like I need to read that one. And then she also has a random standalone that's from Twinkle with Love. So because I'm not feeling the YA romance anymore, I don't want to hold on to these things, and I want to give them to someone who can appreciate them more and can maybe get more enjoyment from them, because like if I read them now, I don't think I would enjoy them. So those are going. I have read one of these, but because I've read one, I don't think I'm getting around to any of the other ones. I have a random Sudoku book that I have literally never done. So I don't even know where that came from. I have a coloring book, which is Color Me Jane, which is a coloring book, like an adult coloring book that is about Jane Austen. The only reason I'm getting rid of this one is because it's a duplicate. I was gifted one of these for Christmas like a couple of years ago. I'd already had it for some reason. So I have colored some of that one, but this one hasn't been touched. So I'm only getting rid of this one because it's technically a duplicate. Another book that I'm going to get rid of that is super random because it also came from college, and that is How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck. This is literally a book that explains how to shoot video for news, how to frame things, what to show, that kind of stuff. And being a communication major, video was a huge part of my major. So I held on to this one because of my major, but I don't really think I need to hold on to it anymore. And I also don't remember diving into this book too much. So I definitely was holding on to some things because they were my major, but like at this point, I don't see myself needing this. And if I need something like this, I will just Google it. So there's that. Some more random ones that I'm going to be getting rid of. We have, I don't know where half of these books came from. I'm not gonna lie. So we have this one, which is a nonfiction, and it is a magnificent obsession. It's Victoria Albert and the Death That Changed the British Monarchy. This is a nonfiction book about Prince Albert and Queen Victoria that I picked up early on, like a long time ago. But I recently read a nonfiction about their life, and I feel like this feels very, very similar to that book. So I feel like there's not going to be anything in here that is vastly different as far as kind of what I got from that book. So while I do love this time period in history, and the Queen Victoria really fascinates me because I've read something similar to this, I don't think I need to hold on to this one. Also, I forgot about it and it was downstairs. So like, it's not like I'm going to get to it relatively soon. Another book that is maybe a surprise because I got it recently is Antoinette's Sister. And this is by Diana Giovanazzo, I believe is how you pronounce it. I am getting rid of this one because it is actually a historical fiction book and not a nonfiction like I thought it was. Which usually wouldn't be a problem, except for I've read a bunch of stuff about this time period, and I don't really feel like I need another. There's nothing about this book that is interesting me. The reason I was interested in it was because I thought it was history, and the fact that it's now not is something that I'm not like leaning towards it. So I'm going to get rid of it so that somebody else who will enjoy something like this can have a shot at it. Another one that I'm going to be getting rid of is The Kingdom. This is by Jess Rothenberg. This is a kind of dystopian, YA dystopian book that is kind of set in a Disneyland type park. Both me and my husband have read this book. We both enjoyed it. It was very interesting. It was a very abrupt ending, which I was surprised about, but I'm not going to reread it. I don't really see, like, it's not our favorite book of all time, so there's not really any reason to, like, hold on to it. So we've read it, enjoyed it. We're going to pass it on to somebody else who can enjoy it more. I'm also going to get rid of Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. This is because, again, it's in a like YA romance contemporary vibe, and I think there's definitely going to be other people. I've had it on my shelf for so long that I think when I bought it, I was still really into like YA contemporary, and I was very interested in what that was going to be. And now I don't really have that pull anymore, so I'm going to give it to somebody else who will enjoy it way more. I'm also going to be getting rid of a couple books that I held on to because I enjoyed, but I'm, again, not going to read them. We have The House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin Craig, and then The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd-Jones. This one I think is a Fairy Loot, or maybe it was an Owl Crate. Oh yeah, this is an Owl Crate book from a long time ago that I actually read and enjoyed. It was fine. Good, like, spooky Halloween vibe. So I kind of enjoyed it. I don't remember a lot about it. It's just kind of is mixed in with other things. And then The House of Salt and Sorrow I did enjoy, but it was creepy, and I'm not going to reread it. There is other stuff by this author that I've toyed with. This is a beautiful book, I'm not going to lie. But I think that somebody else can enjoy it more because, like, I've read it. I'm not going to pick it back up. I've read a lot more stuff in this haul than usual, and that just makes me feel really good. I say as we're about to get into a bunch of stuff I haven't read yet. Oh, no, not this one, though. I'm getting rid of a couple of my KiraCast books. So we have The Siren, and then we also have Happily Ever After, which is a bunch of short stories in her selection series. The Siren is a standalone that I read. I think this was the first book that I read after her selection series, and it just kind of fell flat. It was fine, nothing amazing. And then this one is a collection of short stories from that series. And while I'm not getting rid of the selection series, A, because I have them all signed by the author. We met the author and I really enjoyed meeting her. She was really sweet. But B, like, I really did enjoy my time reading them, and I do think that they are fun keepsakes. I don't think I'll ever reread them. I think that they are going to be just kind of like things that I hold on to, and then maybe one day a future child of mine could potentially be interested in them. But I have like ties to them, so I don't want to get rid of the actual story, but like the collection of short stories that I've never read and probably won't dive into, it can go. So I'm thinking KiraCast is no longer an author for me, so these are a couple of the books that I feel comfortable parting with. The one we're getting rid of, I think, is because we might have a duplicate of this one, because if I remember correctly, this is from a class that both Chris and I had to take when we were in college. But this one was primarily for him. It's called Adam's Gift, and it's by Jimmy Creech. It's by a pastor talking about LGBTQ plus people within the church, and I think we had 2 copies of this, but it was something that we had for school and we no longer need to hold on to. Okay, then I'm going to be getting rid of my copy of Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. I picked this one up when the movie came out, and I watched the movie and really enjoyed it, and I think I bought this because I was like, oh, I'm going to like read the original text, and I might have started it. I don't really remember, but I was like, why did I pick this up? I've watched the movie. It's one of those classics that I feel like I don't need to read to enjoy. It's just kind of like one of those things that, like, I don't really know why I held on to it, but that was part of my classic section Unhaul that I did. I'm also going to be reading of Mirage. This is by Somalia Dayoud. This is a book that I really enjoyed. It's the first in a duology, but it's been such a long time that at this point I would have to reread this one to read the second one, and I just feel like there's going to be people who will enjoy it more. It feels like your typical YA fantasy. It was fine. I got this in a subscription box, so it is a special edition cover, so somebody else can enjoy this fun YA fantasy. I don't have to hold on to it because it was, again, like downstairs and I was holding on to it, and I don't think, either I didn't realize I was holding on to it or I don't really know why I was, but that one needed to go. And then I've gotten rid of a couple of historical fiction type stories. We have The Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason by Virginia Boker. This one I picked up because it sounded funny, but it reminds me of the Jane's and Mary's series by the Lady Janies, which I really enjoyed, and they were really funny, but I think I've started to lean away from that type of writing, and this one felt like just like it. It felt like a kind of a joke on history, if you will, a satire of history. And while that could be fun, I think there's other people out there who are going to enjoy this. It's not what I'm gravitating towards. I've had it on my shelves for quite a few years. It can go. Same thing with The 48 by Donna Hose. This is a time travel story that takes place in Tudor England. This is one that I'm still, like, it's in this box, but I haven't decided if I'm going to get rid of it or just kind of put it downstairs out of the way, because the idea of time travel in this time period is interesting to me. But I picked it up and then didn't, like, read 2 chapters and put it back down. So I don't really know if I'm ever going to get around to it. So we might as well just kind of get rid of it, and maybe somebody else can enjoy this story. I don't know. It's a historical fiction. There's so many out there people can enjoy. I then have a couple of Meredith Russo books. So we have Birthday and If I Was Your Girl. So these are 2 books that Birthday I enjoyed. It was fine. But If I Was Your Girl I read and really, really enjoyed. And I haven't had these, like, I haven't thought about them in such a long time. I honestly forgot I had them. They were like near the bottom of this box. And while I enjoyed this book primarily when I read it, it gave me a new look at certain types of books that I've never tried out before. I've heard some interesting things about the author, and I'm not getting rid of them for the author. I'm getting rid of them because I don't really need them anymore. And I think books like this are very important stories to be told, and hopefully they will make their way into the hands of someone who will enjoy them more than I will. Because like I said, I honestly forgot that I had them until now. And then I'm also going to be getting rid of the Crown's Game duologies. We have the Crown's Game and the Crown's Fate. Again, another one that I'm debating on. So if you've read this series, let me know if it's worth holding on to. Because there's only 2. I feel like I would really enjoy this. I think it is YA. And it takes place in like a Russian-inspired world. But ever since I picked them up, I honestly, like, they've been on my shelves and I just kind of forgot about them. And I think that they probably, since there's 2 of them, somebody else can enjoy them way more. I am diving more into like fantasy romance side of fantasy, which I'm really, really enjoying. And that's kind of what I'm wanting to pick up right now. And this is not really doing it for me right now. So I don't know. If you've read this, let me know if I should hold on to these. But as of right now, I think we're gonna let them go. The last book that is in this box is Intercepted, and this is by Alexa Martin. This is a sports romance that I read, I feel like a couple of years ago. Chris actually got this for me for either my birthday or Christmas. I can't remember which one, because he heard about it on NPR and thought that I might enjoy it, and I did. I had a good time reading it. I thought it was very interesting. I think what I'm going to do, instead of unhauling this one, well, instead of unhauling, giving it to a bookstore, I'm going to give this to my coworker because she is discovering reading again, as far as like enjoying books and like these fun illustrated covers, and she started to dive into sports romance a little bit. So I think I'll give this to her and see if she would be interested in this, and then if not, then I can pass it on to the used bookstore. But I enjoyed it. It was a good book. It's just not one that I feel like I need to hold on to, you know? So that is a very quick, short look at some of the books that we are going to be getting rid of. I now have to do that because they've been taking up too much space and the box is full. So it's time for them to go. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know some of these books that I mentioned I wasn't sure about. Let me know if I should hold on to them, or if there's a book in here that you just kind of like absolutely loved. Let me know what is worth holding on to, because I will always listen to you guys and will always make room for some things that you guys are telling me is actually worth it. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you'd like to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media down there, as well as other fun bookish links, so if you check all that out, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye! Oh, I forgot to mention that I cut my hair. They'll know.